Hey nerdies, it's Kathleen here, and I'm here with 3TopicsReviewer, and we are going to talk about a really interesting topic today. We're going to talk about game remixes, games basically releasing HD remakes, and whether or not that is milking the franchise. And Brian recommended this topic. I think it's a really interesting topic, and we're kind of going to debate a little bit about this today. So what made you want to talk about this topic, Brian?
Well, I want to talk about it after the recent announcement that Naughty Dog felt it was a smart idea for them to re-release The Last of Us back on the PlayStation 3 with the, quote, remastered edition. Makes sense.
Yeah.
3 different versions of the same game in less than 2 years is something I don't think we've seen in the gaming industry in a long time.
Yeah. See, this is like kind of a new thing that gaming industries are doing, is this Game of the Year edition. And personally, I don't have a problem with it because most games do it, and it's usually a release and edition for people who haven't played the DLC that a game offers. Because obviously, if you haven't played it, you don't have any desire to to get the remade edition. There's nothing like new offered, but I think a lot of games are doing HD remakes, and I think that sometimes they kind of push it. Like, I know that Sleeping Dogs is releasing a HD remake, and it's like $80.
Wow.
So I don't know.
I mean, I don't mind HD remakes because as I'm sure you know, they recently announced that they were going to be kind of remastering Resident Evil 1, despite the fact that they had already done this before on the GameCube. Now, I don't mind them remastering it if it's a good couple of years apart, if it's generations apart, because we're going from the original PlayStation 1 to the GameCube, big graphical leap. Now we're going from the GameCube time to PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and Nintendo Wii. Those are major graphical leaps, and so it does make sense to remaster them. But if you really want to do, say, a game on the PlayStation 3, which still looks good, and you want to just render it a little bit and say it looks that much better, I don't really think that adds anything at all. I mean, if you're going to do a remastering, have it have significant difference, then it just look, the grass looks a little bit less pixeler or something like that.
Yeah. See, I don't know why they don't do more remakes of classic games, you know? So many people want to see a remake of, like, Zelda games. So many people want to see a remake of just classic games from our childhood, of last-gen stuff, you know? Or even, like, decades ago. And it makes sense that there would be a remake, but it's like we're typically remaking these games that haven't been out for a long time, so I can see where you're coming from with that. But for me, like, I'm not really bothered by it because I usually don't buy those remakes that often. So I'm just like, whatever. If someone wants to buy it, they can buy it. But I don't know. Is this something that really bothers you, or?
Yeah, no. I mean, the only reason that I have picked up remakes is, like, for example, I do not have my PlayStation 2 anymore, and there are a lot of PlayStation 2 games that I used to own, that I still own, but I just cannot play. Like, for example, they just released last year, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I have that as well.
I loved Kingdom Hearts, and I cannot wait to get my hands on 2.5 Remix, because that's going to come with the international edition, which was never released here. Now, if you do something like that, that is a great way to take an older game and bring it to current-gen systems. Or if you take something like, this is perfect. Zone of Enders, in which you're not just getting one game, you're getting multiple games. Now, I never got to play this on the PlayStation 2, so that is a good reason. So, and I think it's been just this, I want to say it started last generation, where they are releasing games that came out on last gen, but because a lot of us didn't know that these systems were not going to be backwards compatible, we got rid of all of our old games to get the new games. But now, this generation, we know better. We know don't get rid of your old systems, because chances are they're going to want to remake them for current-gen systems. So there's a good chance that, like, half of the games on my collection here are most likely going to get remastered or get packaged to come out of a PlayStation 4, and I won't need to buy those versions because I already have it on my PlayStation 3, so saves me money. But I think that's really where it all started. It was just the fact that none of us knew that these systems were not going to be backwards compatible. And if they were backwards compatible, you know, we would never need to buy the newer editions. I can just pop like a PlayStation 2 game in my PlayStation 4, which I wish I could do, but you know.
Yeah. I agree. Because I agree because I know that my like my PlayStation 3 definitely is, and I think that some of the earlier versions of PlayStation 3 were backwards compatible. I'm not sure if that's right.
The first generation PlayStations were PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 compatible, and then when the new ones came out, then they restricted it to only PlayStation 1 games, which makes no sense. I mean, even my new PlayStation 3 can still play my PlayStation 1 games. I was like, why can't it play PlayStation 2?
Yeah. So what do you think about, like, what do you think about when games release an HD version that is a little bit different on one console than it is on the other? Like, or just releasing, because the reason why I ask that is, The Witcher 3, it has gotten to a lot of beef with certain ragey, I don't know if you've heard about this, but CD Projekt Red had to release a statement because they didn't include a cloth and a set of game cards in the PC version of the game for, like, the collector's edition. And people were pissed about this because of a cloth and a set of game cards. Because, you know, CD Projekt Red has always had this good reputation with the people that play the game, so when something goes wrong, people are just, like, pissed. But I feel like that's a little bit of a stupid thing to get pissed about. But if they release DLC on one console and they didn't release on another, then I'd be pissed about that. But, like,
we've seen that before, especially if you go to something like Ubisoft and their Assassin's Creed franchise. Like, they have this special relationship with Sony, and so they'll release certain, like, DLC or story packs or weapons that you'll only get on the PlayStation 4 version and not get it on the Xbox version. Stuff like that. Even if I was an Xbox person, that wouldn't bother me. So what, you get like an extra little sword or an extra hour of gameplay. The game by itself is good.
Yeah. I feel like it would kind of bother me if there was something like an hour of gameplay more on one console. But at the same time, I think it's interesting what CD Projekt Red said, because they made this statement, and it was like a couple paragraphs long about this stupid cloth. And they said, you know what, we tried to make this fair, but we do have partners, and we have to make deals with those partners so that they'll support our product. And it's like, yeah, sometimes they have to, like, make deals so that, because their partners want their product to be sold on their console. So it's like, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how the economy works. It sucks, but it kind of is how it works.
At the end of the day,
so,
it's a business.
Yeah. It's like, you want to just kind of fanboy and fangirl over the companies that make these games, but at the same time, they are running a business, which sucks, but,
they gotta do things
you know,
that do not make any sense.
Yeah. So, you actually didn't like The Last of Us, did you?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I liked. Okay, let me explain it, because I've actually taken down.
I don't want the fanboys and fangirls, like, getting all pissed off.
That's exactly what happened in my review. That's why I took it.
Yeah.
Down. It's like
even people got pissed off at me in my review too.
Because, like, so, I was being as honest as I could, because I'm gonna tell everyone what I did. When The Last of Us first came out, I waited probably a week, and instead of playing the game, I watched all the cutscenes. I watched it like a movie, and I thought it was nothing special. And then a week later, I then eventually got the game. I played it, and I was like, okay, this isn't the masterpiece or groundbreaking or mind-blowing. I thought it was a good game, and I said everyone who has a PlayStation should definitely play this, since I do think this is going to be the last really great exclusive, besides Beyond Two Souls, which I thought was better. But yeah, everyone should definitely play this, and I gave it a B+, and people were just pissed, and they were making all these statements saying it is the only reason to get a PlayStation 3. It is the game that defines. It is the game that, you know, if you don't like it, you're not a PlayStation fan. It's like, look, I've been playing games that have story from '97, and I can tell you half the games on my collection have better stories that go much more into depth than The Last of Us did. The Last of Us is the first game. It is not a franchise, and so I think that giving all of its praise is a little bit overboard. And the fact that everyone is just treating it like it is the greatest game that has ever existed and saying it is the greatest game ever just kind of pisses me off. And it was the more people talked about it, the more I disliked it. And it was like...
Yeah. Do you think maybe... Oh, sorry.
No,
do you think maybe you overhyped it a little bit too much for yourself?
I didn't.
Maybe that's why you were like, oh, I gotta watch all the trailers and...
No, that's the thing. I did the opposite thing. Everyone was talking like it was the next big thing, and I didn't buy it. Because the last time that had happened, I was severely disappointed. So I'm usually very, very cautious about what games I end up buying or renting. So I usually like to know a little bit more into it before I get it. So, like, even though I haven't played games like Shadow of Mordor or The Evil Within, which I absolutely loved your reactions video, and I do kind of myself. I know the gist of the story, and I kind of know what to expect, but I'm still excited to play it, and I still think there's going to be very good games.
Yeah.
There's
See, I think that's...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I think that's just how fanboys and fangirls get. Like, I have to check myself because, see, I like having these conversations, even though, like, we disagree, because The Last of Us is obviously one of my favorite games, but, like, I think people need to just harness their fanboy or fangirl and just, like, not act like a stupid person, you know? Like, and especially if, see, I have a YouTube channel, and I think you gotta have, like, some code of ethics, you know? You gotta have some form of, okay, so you're representing a game, you're reviewing games, like, you have to be able to criticize the games that you like, and you have to listen to other people's opinions. And it's like, even though I love Naughty Dog, even though I love the company, I think I should be able to open up my mind to people that don't think the same thing, you know? So, you know, like, because I think if you don't do that, you're just going to come off as, like, an idiot, you know? You're just going to come off as, like, a stupid fanboy, you know? Or,
like trust me, I'm one of the biggest Metal Gear Solid fans you will ever see. Like, if you ever get a chance, like, if you ever see my tour room, you'll see that this whole back wall is nothing but Metal Gear. I have, like, at least, like, hundreds of dollars of expensive posters of Metal Gear. I've got 6 different copies of Metal Gear Solid 3, and even I will admit that it does have some problems. I will not go on the fence and say it is the greatest franchise ever made. I will say it is my personal favorite franchise for specific reasons, and why I've been with it since '97, but I won't go overboard and say you have to play this game. Everyone who plays this is going to love it. If you don't like it, you clearly aren't a fan of gaming. I will never say that, because I know there are some people that do not like Metal Gear, and I respect them for that, because at least I don't mind having your opinion as long as you can back it up. And I respect people that love The Last of Us because they always back it up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think part of gaming is preference, too. Like, that's, you know, I know I'm going to be reviewing Borderlands, and I know that not everyone's going to enjoy Borderlands. Like, I've enjoyed the fuck out of this game, but it just isn't for everyone. Like, some people just don't like sitting for hours and doing, it's kind of repetitive. Like, you just sit, you shoot things, you get guns, but for some reason I enjoy it. And see, that's another thing. Some people enjoy Destiny, and other people are like, no, shut the fuck up. This game sucks.
It's okay.
You know? So it's like, you gotta kind of you gotta say what your opinion is and what your preference is, because some people just don't like certain types of games. You know, some people don't like story-based games like The Walking Dead the game, you know? And I don't get it, but for some reason, people don't like that sometimes.
I actually have only seen about 10 minutes of a Walking Dead episode, and I know I wasn't going to like it. And, like, like yesterday, I just finished recording, like, this Loot Crate unboxing that had all this Walking Dead stuff. It had Walking Dead posters, a Walking Dead comic book, Walking Dead figure. I'm like, I'm going to give this away to somebody, because this just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. See? It's preference, you know? Like, some people just can't play those types of games. Some people can't play games like Beyond Two Souls because they think that it's just a cutscene where you just push buttons. But
so much more than that. I love that game.
I love Beyond Two Souls. It's such a good game. I cried my eyes out like a lot playing that game. A lot. I don't know. The ending fucking gets me.
Which ending did you pick?
So, we kind of got off topic, but what do you think should be kind of the requirement for a game that's going to be an HD remake? Like, what should be, like, the bar? Like, hey, you should meet this requirement.
Okay, alright. I'm going to use Resident Evil as an example. If you're going to remaster an older game, one, make sure there's at least one generation gap. So, Resident Evil does fit that. It does fit it. But what I want in this Resident Evil is I want the ability to play it with a new type of game style. Like, I know that a lot of people really don't like the modernization of how the Resident Evil games are more action-based, but I still like that kind of combat more than the old school version because those controls for the older games is just horrendous to the point where it's almost unplayable. So if they do the Resident Evil 1 remake, I want the ability to be able to play that game like Resident Evil 4. Or at least give me the option to choose. Because if it's just skipping a generation, I played this on the GameCube, and it literally was the same game I played on the PlayStation 1. It just looked better. I don't want to have to do that again. Yeah.
See, I haven't played Resident Evil 1, but I have played Resident Evil 2, and I know that game is really fucking hard. Like, no survival game has shit on Resident Evil 2. It's ridiculous. Like... and I kind of wanted to still have that. If they were gonna remake it, I would want it to be really difficult, but also I would want it to, I don't know. I guess it would be interesting to have like an option to play it with more saves, and like maybe have an option to just use the typewriter. I know some people play the game without saving at all.
Oh yeah, you can actually beat the first Resident Evil game in like I think the fastest speedrun I've seen is like less than an hour.
Oh god.
That is nuts.
No. I could not do that. No. See, like, if you see me play The Evil Within or Outlast, you know how I am with survival games. I suck at survival games, and I freak out.
I don't know how people get scared of that, because I was certainly laughing. It's like, you guys think this is scary? I mean, I'll tell you, I'll give you a scary experience.
I get scared so easily. I can't help it.
I've seen real evil in this world, which is why horror in any genre just doesn't work. Nothing scares me. Like, the only two games in history that have managed to actually scare me was the first Resident Evil game I ever played, which was Resident Evil 4, and the first Dead Space. And the Evil Within kind of fits that area, so I'm hoping to at least get a little adrenaline rush, but I don't think it's ever going to actually scare me. Maybe disturb me, but not scare me.
Yeah. I think personally, there's something I kind of on a nostalgic level too when you're playing Resident Evil 2 or just any of those old games, because for me, it's even scarier because when I first saw Resident Evil 2, I was like really young. So I think that's part of it too. It just kind of like brings you back to that space of being a really terrified little kid. So I don't know about you, but that's what does it for me.
Oh no, I never got. Yeah, it wasn't until Resident Evil 4 that I got introduced to Resident Evil, and then after I played 5, which a lot of people didn't like, I thought it was okay. I then finally went back and I played some of the older games, and I was just puzzled. I was like, you guys thought this was scary? Like, this isn't scary. It's like the scariest moment in Resident Evil is when you're walking down the hallway and the dog pops out the window. I'm like, you're kidding. I've seen jump scares and see great movies in theaters that were scarier than that, and those weren't even scary. So wow, you people just must like.
I guess when you're in second grade, it just, I don't know, it terrifies you even more. Especially because back then, like the zombie genre wasn't like as huge as it is now. You know, like I think that Resident Evil is really to blame for a lot of that. But
well, zombies are real popular these days, so zombies aren't even really all that scary.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the best zombie stories involve, like, the zombies aren't the scary part of the story. It's the people, you know, like The Walking Dead. Like, hey, like this guy.
Oh, the governor.
Yeah, the governor. But yeah, I think we've pretty much... Is there anything else you want to cover in this video?
Yeah, it's up to you. I said my piece.
Yeah, I think... I don't know. I think that... Personally, I think that releasing HD remakes for games that just came out a couple of years ago or even like a year ago is a little bit excessive, but it's not something that really bothers me. I think the only HD remakes I have are Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. So, Final Fantasy X. Because I hadn't played Kingdom Hearts and I wanted to play it, so I was like, oh, I get all the games. Like, and the reason why I bought Final Fantasy X is because I just wanted to see what it would look like remade, and I was pretty pleased with the result. I personally think I'm gonna get the HD remake of The Last of Us because I think it looks really impressive for an HD remake, especially because they increase the frame rate, they increase the look of it, and I think as a Let's player, a lot of people want to see me play it, so that's another reason why I'll probably buy it, because they want to see it in a better quality. But I think that a lot of times HD remakes are excessive, and I think that they shouldn't really offer too much extra content unless they want to piss off the people that originally bought it. But, you know what I mean? Like, if it's just like, oh, okay, it's an HD, but I already have the game, so what? But if they offer, like, extra stuff, then it's like, oh, shit, I have to pay 40 to 60 bucks to get this new thing. But most of the time, I'm just like, it doesn't bother me, you know? So...
I mean, it's just like remaking movies. It's like, as long as, if you're remaking a movie, number one, make sure most people alive or in that area have not seen the original.
Yeah.
Then you can do it. So, like, I know a lot of people haven't played a lot of the older games, so I wouldn't mind them remaking some older PlayStation 1 or old NES games. And, you know, like, who would love to see an HD just version of high quality of Zelda: A Link to the Past?
Oh, everyone freaking says that. I feel like everyone says that.
I've played all those versions, and I would buy a Wii U just to play that.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite Zelda of all time.
Yeah. Exactly. They need to get on that. They need to start doing it. I think that needs to be the new trend. But it is more convenient to just remake a game where you don't have to completely redo the entire game. And I think that's a better version of a remake where you actually remake the entire game.
The entire game.
But,
exactly.
You know, you make more profit when you don't have to do that, you know? So.
It seems just cheaper to just take the game and let's just render it and make it a little bit smoother, repackage it. There you go. There you go. But yeah, it's a slight bit better, but it's the same game. Like, what else do you have? It's like it's got much slightly better looking cutscenes. Okay, but the PlayStation 3 version still looks really good. So
yeah.
What else?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I want to get your opinion. What do you think of them already wanting to do a Last of Us movie? Because this is just, I mean, it's not even a franchise, and they just announced it like within a year and a half. It's like, you're not even going to let this sit. I mean, at least games like Assassin's Creed and World of Warcraft, at least those are established franchises. This is just...
The only reason I am nervous about it is because I love The Last of Us so much that there's never been a good video game movie. Like, it just hasn't been done.
I think there's at least one.
What? Yeah. I want to hear. What's the...
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
A lot of, because you have to admit, Mortal Kombat, what that movie did was it took a game that literally had no story. It used all 8 characters. It focused on the fighting. The story was simple, and it had one of the best theme songs to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, yeah, the acting ain't that great. The CGI effects are really outdated and look like crap. The animatronics look kind of clunky, but for its time, it used all the characters. It gave you a plot, and if you really think about it, if I remember correctly, that movie actually started the official storyline that games would follow. Up until that point, there had not been any official record that Liu Kang officially won the first tournament. It was up in the air from that point on. So I think that's really what Mortal Kombat 2 was based on top of. So we really have to thank that movie for starting the storyline that we have.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's interesting. I wasn't really impressed with what I saw, but I think if you do know that it contributed to Mortal Kombat as the game, that would definitely positively impact your opinion on it. But for me, the only reason why I'd be afraid of them making a Last of Us movie is, first of all, most of the time when movies are announced, they never happen. You know, the BioShock movie was supposed to happen, but it got dropped. It got dropped. There's supposed to be a Mass Effect movie. I'm pretty sure that's not happening because we haven't gotten
a Halo movie.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any update on that. And so I'm just not certain that this is actually going to happen. And if it does happen, I just would really like Neil Druckmann to have a large say in it and hopefully write the script for it. If he does have a big say in it, then it will turn out well. But if he doesn't, then it's just not. It's not gonna work. So.
Also depends on the director. Like, have you even played the game? Do you kind of understand what the gist is like? No, not really.
Yeah. A lot of directors just kind of want to get into the money of games because games make a lot of money, and they're just like, hey, we can get a lot of people to watch this. So yeah, like Resident Evil, the freaking movies. Oh my god, so bad. So bad.
Okay, I'll give you this. The first one was the only one I thought was okay because I thought it was doing its own thing. But once it got to 2 and it started mixing the storyline and the games and the characters, that's when it started to fall apart. I mean, I'll never forget the line in the second one when Jill says to Alice, heck, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I was like, really? And they made Nemesis one of the most badass characters, and he gets beaten up in a fist fight. I'm like, this girl, you could eat this girl.
Yep.
And you're getting your ass handed to her? Like,
yeah.
What happened to Mr. Terminator?
Yep.
And then they just screwed up Ada and Leon's character in the last one. They're making Westerns like some type of anti-hero. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I swear, the only saving grace is that they have not added Alice into any of these games. And I'm glad we'll be getting Claire back.
Yeah, I'm just really afraid of them doing that, of them committing that kind of atrocity. Like,
because the movie industry has much more publicity than the video game industry. So when people think of Last of Us, most people are going to think of like a terrible Last of Us movie instead of actually digging deeper into it and wanting to play the game. Because I have not really met anyone that sees a video game movie and has ever been interested in playing the game.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, so it's a shame. So if that movie does end up getting made and ends up being bad, then the reputation of The Last of Us is going to be tarnished too. I mean, I think the only franchise to like really kind of erase its past was maybe the Super Mario Brothers movie. I mean, look at that travesty, and Mario is still going strong.
God.
It's like, let's not pretend that movie existed.
That movie does not exist. It doesn't exist. No.
No.
Oh God, no. That's kind of like Batman and Robin. It's like one of those. It's one of those movies that you're just like, it's almost so bad that it's good. You know what I mean?
Yes. But here's the thing about Batman and Robin. Here's why I don't hate it, because it's a worthy sacrifice. Because if that had not been as bad as it was, we never would have gotten the Nolan trilogy.
It's true. It's true.
Because they had announced that the next Batman movie was going to be called Batman Triumphant, and if that had come out, we never would have gotten these 3 movies. So I will accept Batman and Robin. I will accept a crappy movie if it has a greater purpose. And heck, we got it.
Yeah.
One bad Batman movie for 3 great ones.
Batman and Robin just wasn't the movie that we needed right now.
No.
No, it wasn't the hero that we needed. That made no grammatical sense, but I was trying to make a reference to Batman, so yeah. But
and just for
oh yeah, what were you saying?
No, I was like, just as a quick closer, how do you feel about Batman vs Superman? Just initial thoughts.
I liked Man of Steel, but
yeah, I liked it.
I'm not a big fan of Batfleck. I hope that he changes my mind. Actually, Ben Affleck has been in the news lately, and I think he's a pretty awesome dude from what I've seen. Like, he seems like a pretty cool guy. Like, he apparently had to get kicked out of a casino because he, like, won too much money playing blackjack or something like that. And also he's been, like, he was on news not too long ago bashing people for being racist. And
oh yes,
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I wasn't a big fan of him being Batman, but he seems like a cool dude. So I'm hoping that he proves me wrong. So I don't know.
And I thought he was alright as Daredevil. I didn't think the movie was that.
I hated it. I hated Daredevil. So. But I don't know. I'm hoping just that, I guess because Daredevil and Batman are so different, I'm just hoping that he is a lot different, you know, because Batman is a grouchy. They're gonna be the comic that they're basing it off of. Like Batman's grouchy, but he's like super grouchy in this one. So
yeah, he's like if there's one word to define Batman at that age, is Batman's a bit of an asshole and a dick.
He's a grouchy old man. Yeah.
I would not want to be a Robin for that Batman. He's just a
yeah. But I don't know. For some reason, I love grouchy Batman, and he's not someone I'd want to be friends with, but it's like, I love him as a character, so. Plus, like, the villains have always been more interesting than Batman has been, but.
Always.
Yeah. So, I think it's a good moment to close off on, because we're getting off topic anyways, but maybe we'll just have to make a whole video about Batman one of these days, because.
Yeah, name, time, and day. We gotta do this.
Yeah, totally. I had a lot of fun, and let me know in the comment section what you guys think about remakes. If you think they're overrated, or if you just don't give a shit. So yeah, but yeah, it was lovely, and I should go. Thanks for watching, y'all. Be sure to check out 3TopicsReviewer's channel. I will put the link in the description. He has some awesome content, so be sure to check it out. Fucking run, fucking run, fucking run. You can't run any fucking faster. Oh shit.